horse running there in that intro. Could maybe take that baseball thing out. So, nobody watches baseball anymore, right, Fred?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Ready to go. March 1st.
Yeah, it's in the story, which here, let me see if we can find it here at the bottom. Read all Fred York's picks as well as recap and early preview weekly at rantsports.com horse racing. So in the for the picks, this story I said back in the saddle for Saturday.
I like it. I like it. Back in the saddle.
March 1, which means we are 2 months from the Derby. Basically here, 1 week exactly from daylight savings, which is great.
That's even better, Sean. That's even better.
Yeah, I can't even wait. It's a great day. But I know we have some pretty good races here today. We're just gonna jump right into them, including the Fountain of Youth, which is always a big race, and a lot of points on tap, right?
Yeah, Sean. From here on in, all these Derby races are like 50 points to the winner. Later on, as we get closer to May 3rd, some of the races, Sean, are actually 100 points, which is really good because 50 points is pretty close to being a win, and you're in a couple of the horses. When we get to discussing the Fountain of Youth Stakes, which there were 2 scratches in that race, which, as I mentioned in the podcast on Thursday, there were 2 horses that were cross-entered in allowance races. Well, both of those said bye-bye. One of them did race yesterday in the allowance race. The other horse, I believe, just scratched. So when we get to that, we'll discuss that a little bit further. But yeah, I mean, we're going to concentrate on. Actually, I do want to talk a little bit when we get to it, Sean. When you open up a race 9 as well, I included that in some of our looks because it is part of what would be called the Rainbow Pick 6. I'm not going to be playing a Rainbow Pick 6 ticket today. Tomorrow is, from what my understanding, tomorrow will be mandatory payout pick 6 is what I'm reading about as things move forward. So that might be worth an opportunity to do. I will be playing to pick 5 today, but there are 2 other Derby prep races, Sean. The Gotham at Aqueduct, which is a 1-turn mile, kind of an interesting race in terms of the setup of it, and then the San Felipe. Out at Santa Anita later today will be another Derby prep race, but we will concentrate today, as many are, on the Fountain of Youth race, which is this afternoon, Sean.
Okay, so first thing we got up, a little bit of a late start again, 4:04. Usually, first few episodes we did were, around.
Well, I do. Yeah, you're right, but I do have the race that I did not list in my article on Rand Sports, Sean, but I'll take a minute before you jump in and open up to race 10, okay? Race 9 at Gulfstream Park is the Canadian Turf. From races 9 through race 14, which is unusual, and Sean and I, you and I often talk about this, when there's a maiden special weight or a maiden claiming race in the mix, right, Sean? Makes it a little more challenging, but not today.
Yeah, you see, race 10 at 4:04, the very one turf is grade 3, a mile and 3/8. So right away, grade 3. And, your big note talks about the marathon turf races always make for some interesting outcomes.
Well, I think they do, because you're going to look at some horses that are going to try and, gun for the lead. They're all going to look at each other, what they're doing. You're going around the track twice. A lot can happen, So in this race, I'm taking a look at a horse that I really like a lot. It's the number 5 horse, Beach Bomb, trained by Graham Motion, who certainly knows a little bit about how to get a horse ready to run on turf, and particularly in a marathon. This horse has a nice lifetime record, has 11 starts, ran first 4 times, 3 second times. Only ran once at this actual distance. His last out, he finished 8th by 3.5 lengths out of first place, but he raced against 2 of the best marathoners in the country, Sean, Mora and Didia. I mean, he came in 8th that was at Del Mar. It was in November, so he's got some time off, but he's been training, ready to come back. He picks up Luis Saez, certainly one of the top riders at Gulfstream Park. And I think, he's been working out enough steadily for his return. Grand Motion wouldn't put him here if he didn't think he had a chance. So at 5-1, and he's certainly taken a step down in class. His last two races, Sean, were grade 1, grade 2. So, I think he's got a big chance in this race. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know it's when you get to those longer races on the turf, I know when we usually do the turf ones, it's usually the 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs a mile, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have what's that?
There, I see later. There's a mile on the turf, but then there's also the longer mile, the longer 1 3/8 mile on race 14.
Marathon. There's another marathon. The last race, the last leg of the pick 5, or if you're playing the Rainbow pick 6, is another marathon race. So yeah, they're really
that's interesting.
Really yeah, and also I also looked and had some insight from some folks that the rail. They're setting up the rail different today at Gulfstream Park for the turf. For instance, in that first race, race 9, which we'll get back to that after we talk about race 10, the rail is out to 59 feet, and some of the other races in the marathon race, it's not out, so it's right up against the rail. So it's a big difference in terms of being out 59 feet or being no rail in terms of being out. They're trying to keep the grass fresh for some of the bigger races, so to speak. So they're not running all from the same rail each time they start. They're moving it in and out. It's almost like an outer and an inner turf, like they have at, I believe Aqueduct has an outer and an inner turf, which really makes a difference in how the races can be run. But the other horse I like here too is number 8, La Mihana, a French bred horse being ridden by, again, we talk about him, Sean, all the time, Dylan Davis. 4-1. This horse ran his eyeballs out his last 2 races, Sean, lost by a neck in both races. Dylan Davis stays with him. He's 3 for 6 at the distance, so he knows how to get this distance, Sean. So I really like that horse as well.
So we got race 11, 434, the Gulfstream Park Mile Dirt 1 Mile Grade 2 Stakes. Your note says if you're looking to single any vertical bets, this is it. And I also see a lookout.
Well, I putting a lookout on this horse certainly is not a stretch of the imagination to say look out for this horse to really win this race. I mean, look at the body of the races that this horse ran in. I mean, grade 1, the last 2 times out at 1 1/8, 1 1/4. He lost to who? Dornick, one of my favorite horses and certainly a grade 1 quality horse. And his first time out when he ran, again, it was 7 furlongs, but is a 1-turn race, Sean, at Gulfstream Park. The last time he was at Gulfstream Park, he broke his maiden and broke his maiden by 13 lengths. So, I mean, there's no sense in looking for another horse in this race. I mean, there are some people will talk about the 3, Encino. He's got a lot of speed. We'll talk about some people looking at the 7, Steel Sunshine, Paco Lopez on him, back in the saddle again. Speaking of back in the saddle, Paco Lopez getting a lot of mounts again. But and I don't think I'm alone with this, I just don't see this horse losing at all. I mean, it's just the quality of the horse is just there, Sean. So, if you want to say lookout bet, sure. But in terms of horizontal wagers, pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s. If you're doing a vertical and you're going to single him on top, probably not going to get a lot of value because I just don't think anybody's going to look at him as getting beat today. And I agree with anybody who thinks that, Sean.
Okay. We go to race 12, 504, the Honey Fox Turf.
Love that.
1 mile.
Love that.
Grade 3. The Honey Fox, grade 3, looking for a gate to wire winner here, where she is the only speed. Which horse are you talking about?
Well, this is the race that I really am very interested in. I'm almost considering, besides, and I don't like to single back-to-back races, but I may consider doing that because the 8 In Our Time, being ridden by Gonzalez, trained by the leading trainer at Gulfstream Park, Joseph Safi, is also the lone E based on Brisnet when they rate horses as E, EP, Presser, or Stalker. He's the lone E. She is clearly the speed. If you look at all the prior past performances of every horse in this race, there's no other speed in this race. Put up a 96 buyer last time out. Raced against some real quality horses in the last race that he was in. Sacred Wish, one of the best turf horses around. Ran a game third there. Got caught late, but remember, Sean, that race was a mile and 16th on turf. This is a mile, so he's going to get out. He's going to be in front. Gonzalez knows the horse very well. If he gives him a little breather, this horse should win easily. His morning line is 7-2. Is probably not likely to stay at 7-2. I mean, I would love to see this horse be 2-1, and I may put something really big on him if he stays anywhere near 2-1. $50 to win on a horse at 2-1 would be a decent return, but I may even look at something better. There are a couple other good horses in the race. I look at them. Sean is coming in second or third. Pounce, the number 9 horse, being ridden again by Dylan Davis. I would look at him as being the class of the field. He ran in the same race last time as In Our Time. He came in fourth behind In Our Time, but again, that was a high, definitely grade 2 race with some really classy horses in it. But he has a chance to win. And I also am going to take a look at the 7 Special One Ireland bred horse being ridden by Saez again. If you look at his last race, Sean, I keep saying he, sorry. She ran against 3 super horses, Gina Romantica, Chili Flag, and Fluffy Socks. 3 of the best, turf horses there are. At a mile, she ran. So this horse has got a shot at 9-2 to get in the mix. I just see our horse, the number 8 horse, In Our Time, getting out and getting away. The Special One has some speed, hasn't shown it lately. Could be up near the lead, but I just think Gonzalez knows he has the best horse, the fastest horse in the field, and I don't see him doing anything but going for the lead, Sean.
It's interesting. I'm on the Gulfstream now looking at the events and the odds here. Is this a race where you say, if you're going to bid an exacta, you say 8 all and hope that, Cairo Consort at 20-1 or a Life's an Audible at 20-1 with Todd Pletcher and Velasquez, Johnny V on it, or Ready for Sure all at 30-1 or Infinite Diamond at 30-1. One of these horses makes a run there, or is it not even worth it?
No. That's a bet to do. You have I think there's the one scratch, because there was a scratch, the 12 horse scratch, so it leaves 11 horses. If you did a $2 exacta 8 all, it costs you like $22 or sorry, $42. 11 horses, $2 for each bet.
You just hope that second horse that comes in pays a little bit.
It's a bomb, yeah. I'm not sure that's going to happen, because I think those other 2 horses I mentioned, Special One and Pounce, are pretty good. I mean, you might want to put those 3 in a $2 or even a $10 exacta box and put those 3 together, knowing that one of those is probably going to run with In Our Time as a way to get some value out of it, because I don't think those other horses are good enough really to.
How about something like this? Like a $5 try box with the 8 on top, 8 with the 9-7 with the 9-7 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a key bet. You can key that 8 horse on top and do that with even those 2 horses in second, and put a couple other horses in second and third, or even just in the third spot. Lots of ways you can construct a vertical ticket like that with the 8 on top, and make some money out of it. Certainly, if you increase the value of your bet, meaning, like you said, Sean, if you made a $5 try, the 8.
Yeah, what would a trifecta? I just for I know we got every once in a while we'll have some new people watching.
Sure.
What would you say if you did I know it's based on like $1 or $2. Like if the 8, if the 8 wins, 8, 9, 7 or something like this, and it goes off 2-1, and the other horses go off at 7-1 and whatever, and the 8 definitely wins in those other 2. I mean, you'll make some money on that try, right?
Absolutely, because there's people that are going to be betting tries with lots of other horses. exactas with lots of other horses. But again, the 8 being the key horse probably might water down a little bit some of those bets, but it's
Yeah.
still worth a shot because you're going to get some value with some of the other horses. And like you said, maybe in that third spot, if you're doing a trifecta key with the 8 on top, and you put the 9 and 7 in the second spot, and you put the 9, 7, and a few other horses in the third spot, you might catch some value. So that's not a bad play. But again, if I'm looking at my pick 5 ticket, I may, when I take a little closer look at how I'm going to construct my ticket, may even single the 8 as well. I mean, having 2 singles back to back is kind of tough. You're certainly you're making a very strong opinion, but that can also allow you to spread much deeper in those other races. And certainly watching the early races today, once they get going, it'll be interesting just to see how speed is holding up on the earlier turf races and give me an idea how I think speed might hold up in this race, Sean.
Okay. We got next
we got the big one next, Sean. Big time.
The Fountain of Youth Dirt. 1/16th mile grade 2 stakes. 5:42 post time. I see you're going to do a big exacta box at a $10 one. We'll talk about this race.
Sure. Well, first I want to point out, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, and even on the podcast last night, that there is likely to be 2 scratches from horses that were cross-entered. The 4 who was 30 to 1 in the morning line, and the 5 who was 20 to 1 in the morning line, both scratched. They were cross-entered in allowance races. I believe the 4 McKellen ran in an allowance race yesterday, and I think the 5 did either one.
The horse did the horse win that other race that entered?
I didn't look that up, but if you wanted to check it out, you could see. I believe
it at Gulfstream, right?
If they entered a race yesterday in race 8 at Gulfstream, that's the race that horse, I believe, was cross-entered. And it'd be interesting to see if you won.
Yeah, because it's interesting. You take them out of a stakes race like that, and you put them in an allowance race. You better win the race. Race 8, right? You said?
That's what it says here, race 8. Yep.
What's the horse's name?
The first horse is McKellen, and Solid Left was the other horse.
Alpha Blue won the race and didn't finish top 5. This is yesterday at Gulfstream.
Yesterday was the 27th, yes?
No, 28th. Today's the 1st.
They were cross-entered in the 25th. Check the 27th. That's where they were cross-entered.
What you got to say? White rabbits, white rabbits, white rabbits when you wake up in the morning, the 1st of the month, and then you get good luck. Which race? Race 8, you said?
Race 8 on February 27th. It's either McKellen or a Solid Left, or they just scratched out of the body.
Solid Left finished 5th. The other horse did not finish in the top 5.
So Solid Left ran in the race. McKellen just scratched earlier today. So it leaves us, instead of a field of 8, we're down to a field of 6. So that kind of tightens everything up. Again, finding it maybe a little more difficult to find some value. As I indicated, I like the number 1 horse, Gate to Wire. Not that is an indication of how his running style will be. He's being ridden by trained by Todd Pletcher, ridden by Dylan Davis. Todd Pletcher also has another favorite in the race, probably likely favorite, the number 6, River Thames, also being trained by Todd Pletcher. Todd Pletcher has won the Fountain of Youth more than any other trainer. He's won it 4 times since 2007. So he certainly has a record that would indicate, he's got a good chance to win this race.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of these horses are kind of the same style kind of horses. You took that one horse out. He was a horse that wasn't going to make a big impact on the speed of the race. Everybody is looking at the 8, Keep It Easy, and the 7, Nyquist, as a chance to set the pace for some of these other horses, which is why I really like Gate to Wire even better, being ridden by Dylan Davis. He's never tried turf except never tried dirt except for the last time that he ran, which he won easily, professionally. Again, it was a swale stake, which was a decent race. Certainly a different quality than this horse here, or than this race here with the horses entered here. But I don't mind picking a horse that I think has a shot in this field where many horses have a shot. Everybody's probably migrating to the 3, Burnham Square. He's already won twice at this distance. Gate to Wire has not run yet at this distance. I don't look at that as a complete negative. I think he's probably sitting on a big race. He's certainly, with Dylan Davis in the saddle, knows how to take this horse to where he needs to be. He's not a speedball. He doesn't need to be up front. There was 6 horses in the last race that he was in. There's 6 horses in this race. Not that that's a big matchup, but it just means a little something. I don't know how this race is going to play out with speed. The sprinter stretching out might make a shot at the front and give the other horses a chance. But I think it's a great race. It's a small field. Certainly with the 2 scratches, that's going to make your favorites even more likely to be favorites. Between the 2, Sovereignty, another big horse that people like, has closed last out with Junior Alvarado on him. Belmont, Alvarado, they team up really well in big stakes races. So tough to leave them out. I say, look at a horse that you're going to pick and make a case for him. And that's what I'm doing with the number 1 horse, taking a shot with him. And Todd Pletcher is 24% going from sprint to route. Again, 7 furlongs, not your classic sprint, but nevertheless, it is labeled as a sprint, right, Sean? We often talk about that as well.
Yes. I was at some the cross video. I was looking at a race there, and some of that bled through. And I was also looking at I'm posting on Twitter, so everybody that can follow on Twitter. Everybody know. I don't know if everybody knows watching. Obviously, you can follow on my Twitter, which is at the Prodigal Sean, and I always post it on the Let Him Run, so everybody can follow. And then somebody had sent me a post saying that a big soccer guy. Obviously, you could look in the background and see that. But Shrewsbury and Peterborough United. Somebody got a red card in the first 10 seconds of the game for elbow. Wow. Somebody 10 seconds, and you're all excited. You kick off 10 seconds, and you got to go to the showers. So
that sounds like the Canadian USA game where there was 3 fights in 9 seconds.
Yeah. It's always interesting, and just I know there's a lot of people here that are watching for horse racing. We're going to have a lot of different programming coming soon as we migrate over to the Sports Talk family. We'll have 20 sites all across the country. Talked a little bit about it last week, but 20 sites across the country, and Luke is all excited about it. He's running around. We're going to have right on the front page, they're going to have the ability to have be able to watch our shows right on the front page. Just a different way. You could book Talk Sports Talk New York or wherever you are. If you're in Florida or if you're in Utah, Salt Lake City, or wherever. I don't even know if you're allowed to gamble in Salt Lake City yet, but if you're there. There's a whole thing. Fred, I don't know if you know, like, for following this stuff, but there's a whole thing going on around the country where these people are trying to put the genie back in the bottle and like go away from online betting
really?
because they're saying that it's if you physically have to go to, like, when we used to go to parks or wherever, you physically have to go, look, there's ATMs there, but like, it's not as, I think there's less of a chance you're going to go and you're going to blow, $8,000 or something like this. Sure. But they say, now with the online stuff, it's just.
I mean, on the phone, you're more likely to have that happen because it's not like
because you just real don't money. Know. Well, you're sitting somewhere. You're just.
Yeah.
So there's Maryland and a few other states are trying to do this.
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. That sounds interesting. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to make that happen.
I don't think it's possible.
You got sites like FanDuel that run a lot, whether it's horse racing and other sports.
Yeah, to be honest, I think they need to do more horse racing. Like I think they need to make it a little bit easier. For there's a lot. This is all getting into other different things that kind of away from today. But a lot of people complain that horse racing, is not what it was back in, the days. And these parks obviously has
Sure.
been something that's benefited from having the casinos. So
Absolutely. That's the main reason. Absolutely.
and I think
No, but it's
we need to support horse racing more to make sure that it doesn't
make it
start
grow. Yeah.
fade away. Yeah, because you need a new generation of kids getting into it, because it is. I mean, it's cool. I mean, when you're watching these races live, or even on TV with the volume up, and you hear these giant animals running. I mean, it's really majestic. So
it's beautiful. It is, and again, they're trying to do the best they can. And I'm not taking this term myself. I heard somebody say, we got to take care of our equine athletes, which is what they're referring to when they talk to, as you mentioned, these beautiful animals that just give us a lot of joy and fun. And as far as going to the track, Sean, you're right. There's nothing like taking a ticket, getting it printed out, and then cashing it while you're right there. That's
when we talk about when it gets warm and daylight savings and all this stuff, but I mean, when we used to go to parks for that, Friday night, they had the twilight racing. Instead of having they would race from like 4 to 8, and you'd be out there in June and July on a Friday night, and 6 o'clock, 6:30, and it's really nice. And they got the bands, and they got music, and Eccles doing a show, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it is. There's nothing, and I live, I used to live 5 minutes from parks. Now I'm about 20 minutes away. But I mean, it is. I mean, I've been to a horse track on my birthday, and you just, it's a fun day.
I was there too. I was there as well.
Yeah. We bet a 62-1 horse down to 4-1 with about $20 worth of bets. So. We might have been the only people in the country betting on that race.
I think you're right. But, speaking of twilight racing, just real quick before we get back to the races here, Monmouth does that in the summer on Fridays. They have twilight racing, and they have a stage outside where they usually have some kind of local band or somebody playing, and they got food trucks there. So there's nothing like going to the track. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Mom is right by the shore, the Jersey Shore outlets. You make a whole day of it. You go out.
It's a good day. Yep.
Just got to make sure. I got to see if my boss will ever let me out of work on time.
Well, it's up to you. You got to work that out. But finishing up on that race 13, I got the one horse
twilight racing here. 6:12 Eastern, the Mac Diarmida Stakes turf. 1 3/8 miles. So, this is obviously going to be, late in the afternoon here, late early evening, whatever you want to call it. And it's a marathon turf race again. And once again, you talk about value.
Yeah, again, in a turf race like this, again, each jockey is going to kind of look at what's going around. They're looking at the form like we have been looking at the form, showing which horses are going to go out, which horse is going to get the lead. I think there's 2 horses in here that are going to likely get the lead. I think the first one is a 3, Capture the Flag, being ridden by Johnny Velasquez. Got a great post to do that. The other horse that I kind of like quite a bit, and I might use him in some different exotic bets as well, exactas and trifectas, is the 11, Cathkin Peak, an Ireland bred. Drew a bad post. It's tough to, get the lead from a wide post like that. I mean, he's in post 11. There were no scratches in front of him to get him a little bit closer, but I still think with an aggressive jockey being placed on him, which is Paco Lopez, who is getting back into racing once again after he was suspended, I don't think he's going to do anything but just try and gun that horse to the lead. If he can get him to the front and get him to rate a little bit, I mean, I'll take a shot at him at a price of 8-1. He's likely, in my opinion, to be double digits by the time the race go off. And if he does, hey, I'm going to take a chance with him, and I might put, 20 across the board on him if he's 10-1, because you can get some real value back on that. I mean, I'm not sure if he's going to win the race. I think he has a chance to win the race. I mean, I would have liked if there was a couple scratches that got him a little closer, but I think Paco's going to be aggressive. I mean, he's been riding great. Again, he rode at Parks. It's not Gulfstream Park. It's not a stakes race, but he won 7 races. I believe it was Wednesday. Some were prices and some were not, but he's riding good and he's getting a chance here. I mean, Jose Ortiz has ridden this horse in the past, And if you look at the race 4 back at Saratoga, where he won on the lead, got out to the lead, there was only 5 horses in the race, so it's a little different. But, he has won on the lead before, so I think he's got a chance. Irad had some other options in this race. I'm talking about Irad now, not Jose. He had some other options here. Irad could have ridden for Pletcher on the 3. Irad is on another horse that I think has a big chance. That's the 9 Grand Sonata. He's the favorite. He's 7-2. Probably going to be bet down from there. Class of the field, ridden in some Grade 1 races already. The last race that he was in, it didn't run too well. Got caught up a little bit. If you look at the replay, he got kind of caught up a little bit. He's probably got a big chance to win. If you're looking at those horses, another horse that is getting a lot of play and a lot of looks in terms of some of the podcasts and some of the horse handicappers that are looking at this race and trying to pick a horse out is the 8. He's being trained by Mike Maker, one of the better turf trainers around, being ridden by one of the best jockeys around, certainly, especially on turf, Frankie Dettori. I wouldn't mind seeing a flying leap out of him, Sean, after if he wins this race. He's going off at 6-1. Another interesting fact that I was able to come across as I was doing some research on this race, Michael Maker has won this race 5 out of the last 6 years. Do you want to take a shot with a trainer who's run 5 out of the last 6 times? I mean, Michael Maker also has another horse in here. Guess who that is? The 11, Captain Peak. So, I mean, he's got 2 horses in here. You want to look at 2 horses that got a good chance to win the race, and they're both prices. You put them in the mix with Grand Sonata, the 8-9 and and the 11. I think it's an interesting race to look at some long shots, particularly with that angle, Sean.
Yeah, we talk about this in other sports sometimes, like North Carolina basketball they won like 57 in a row against Clemson or something like this, and Manchester United.
Sooner or later, they got to lose. Yeah.
But like you see, but I mean, the flip side is like, if Maker's 5 out of 6 here, I don't know. Hey, maybe he just knows how to win at this track on this turf or something like this, and you say, man, if he's that good, I got to throw something on. Like, if one of his horses wins and you don't have it, like, that's on you. Like, that's on you. You're like, man, how did I not have it? He just won 6 of the last 7 races. This is exact race. So, like, I feel like you have to put a little bit on it just to make sure you're like, you don't have to go crazy, but you got to cover it a little. To me, right? I mean, I just think, you gotta make sure you cover that stuff. So, I see Fred's frozen a little bit. So, I think, did we lose you, Fred? We did. Texting him now. So, I mean, I'll close, but, once again, if you don't have this, one of those 2 horses, even for, I think Fred says, $20 win play show, I'd probably do 5 on the 11 at 8-1. All right, so that's the end of the show today. Fred left a little early. Look, once again, hundreds of people watching. I can see now on YouTube, it's almost 100 exactly on YouTube, and I know on Twitter we have a ton, or X, whatever it's called. I call it Twitter. So basically, just make sure you're looking at. We're going to be posting more videos and more live shows during the week now as it gets a little nicer and we get closer to this Derby, and I get a little more time at night to join Fred. My SAT class ends Thursday. The SAT is next Saturday, so I will have some more time to do that as well. All right. I want to say thanks for everybody for watching. It's been a great run, and hopefully everybody keeps winning here. All right, talk to you later.